Hey, you're Harrington can sing? I'm having a hard time placing who this reminds me of, but man, that was really cool. That was a really cool thing to see. Okay, guys, so we're mixing it up a little bit here today. I'm covering something that I wouldn't normally cover, but it's still relevant to me, not just culturally. It's relevant to me as a Stranger Things fan. I've been a fan since season 1. Right when it came out, I was really, really into Stranger Things, and through season 2, even into season 3, I was binge watching it over and over and over again. Like even in the background while I was working on other stuff, I loved the series early on, and it's not like I fell off because I didn't like later seasons necessarily, but I have had my wife has given birth 3 times since season 2 came out. We have 3 kids now, and that tends to put a damper on the amount of time you can use to focus on entertainment and even just priorities of like what you care to keep up with. Now I have, like I said, I've kept up with it, not as religiously. I'm all the way through the end, through the finale. I'm not going to give my review here for what I think of how it all ended. That's not what we're here to do today. I just want to lay that out there to say, even though I'm a big fan of Stranger Things, I had no idea this was going on. I had no idea that Joe Keery, right? That's how his last name's pronounced. Joe Keery. I read it a lot. I don't hear it a lot. Joe here. I had no idea he was doing this. I had no idea he was out there making music. Apparently, this came out in 2022, and then it got viral. I was reading on Google. It got viral in 2024 on TikTok, and all that just passed me right by. I had no idea. So I want to see this, and we're going to be watching the laneway performance, the live performance. Since there's not a music video, I do prefer to have some kind of, visual stimulation here. So maybe I'll go back at some point, listen to the studio version. Cause I'm not one of those purists that's like, if there's a live version, that's the only version I'm going to listen to because live versions are better. I do know some people like that, but I'm going to listen to both. Not here in this video, but eventually, if it's good, we'll see. If he impresses me enough here, I'll watch the studio version. But anyway, I'm not gonna belabor this anymore. Let's get into it. Here's Steve Harrington. Or wait, sorry. I was gonna say DJO, but is it DJO or is it DJO? How is that even pronounced? Like, this is how out of the loop I am on this. This is Joe Keery, his performance persona, and the song End of Beginning. Let's do this. Okay, so now I think it's DJO.
Just one more tear to cry, one teardrop from my eye. You better save it for the middle of the night, when things aren't black and white.
Uh-oh. Sorry, I lost internet there for a second for some reason. Let's get back into this here, guys.
When things aren't black and white, and to troubadour, remember 24. And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I was in it. I wave goodbye to the end of beginning.
Yeah, this is cool. I like the vibe of this. It's very different. That like I said, this is off the wall from what I would normally listen to on this channel, but not off the wall from what I would just, maybe turn on in the car. I'm having a hard time placing who this reminds me of, because I feel like there's something very familiar about this, and I'm having a lot of trouble placing it right now, but it's just got this kind of laid back, kind of slow rock type of easygoing vibe to it, but it's got kind of a classic rock feel. This is fun. This is fun. And it's hitting on kind of, I guess it makes sense that people would feel more connected to this song as we're coming to the end of Stranger Things, because this concept, end of beginning, even in the title, and then he's talking about his past, talking about memories. It sounds very much like a coming of age type of song that's talking about the end of things, but it being kind of a new beginning, which you could kind of see that, even though some of the actors in Stranger Things have been doing other things in between, have been kind of obviously here, like pursuing other things like music. And then Millie Bobby Brown doing other movies, Sadie Sink doing other movies. I don't know, I know Finn Wolfhard has been doing some other stuff, but anyway, it's kind of this end of their beginning with Stranger Things, because all of them kind of started right there. I'm sure some of the older cast, maybe even Joe here, had some other little things, but especially the younger actors, you know, for a lot of them, that was the very first thing they'd ever done. And so, at least I think it is. I might be speaking a little out of turn there, but I know at least for a couple of them is the very first big break that they'd ever had, or well, it had to have been the very first big break that any of them ever had. But at least, you know, for some, it might have been the very first acting experience they had gone into. So, you know, this is the end of a beginning. This was the big epic beginning to their careers. And I feel like for someone like that, for people who are involved in such a thing, just kind of like the Harry Potter actors even, that being a very daunting thing, that the first foray you have into stardom is this big epic story that is probably going to get remembered for a while, as a big epic television story. And then like as the Harry Potter actors, big epic movie story, like moving on from that historically has always been kind of a dicey thing. You know, it's hard for people to look past that beginning, even though it's ended. So yeah. Let's get back into it.
This song has started now, and you're just finding out. Now isn't that a laugh? A major sacrifice, but clueless at the time. And to Caroline, just trust me, you'll be fine. And when I'm back in Chicago, I'll feel it. Another version of me, I was in it. I'll wave goodbye to the end of the beginning. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
So one thing that is coming to mind here, excuse me, one thing that is coming to mind here is like, I don't know why I got this image in my head of like this being an alternate reality, an alternate version of Stranger Things where Steve Harrington joins the Glee Club. Because like the thing that's coming to mind is like, dang, Harrington can sing. But then it feels like almost a line from that alternate reality where his a-hole friends from season 1 were like, hey, you hear Harrington can sing? Let's go make fun of him and throw stuff at him while he's on stage and just make fun of him for doing things he's passionate about. Like I'm sitting here, I'm like, dang, Harrington can sing. And then it set my mind into this alternate reality. But really, Harrington can sing. It's pretty good. Like, he's not the greatest singer I've ever heard in my entire life, but the guy is doing a great job. And he's really holding his own when it comes to this style of music that we're dealing with. Like I said, I'm having a hard time placing this. There is something that this is reminiscent of, and it's going to bother me. After I'm done here, I'm going to have to look up a few songs on Spotify and just kind of like dig through a few playlists and see if I can find something that matches up with this, because it is eluding me right now. So let's get back into it. I had to call that out. The Harrington can sing. That's so cool. I love that. That's got to be a good feeling. That's got to be a great feeling. just having such a crowd sing your own lyrics back to you like that, like having that kind of understanding among so many people. They know your song, they love your song, and they're sitting there singing it just as passionately as you are. That's such a cool thing. That's so cool. I love that for him. And you can see he loves it too. That's why I love live performances. I love live performances. And like I said, I have an equal respect for studio performances and tracks as well. A lot of talent goes into those. But man, that was really cool. That was a really cool thing to see him actually performing the song for such a crowd and people who know the song who are singing it right back to him. Again, Harrington can sing. It's really cool. That's going on my playlist. That's definitely going on my playlist. I wish I had known about it back in 2022 when it first came out. I would have been all over this, but it's just, I don't know. It's kind of the crux of this channel is like, at least for a long while, I've been out of the loop with a lot of different artists. And if you're interested in seeing that, subscribe. I'm assuming there's going to be quite a few people watching this one that aren't already subscribed to me, who aren't watching the stuff that I normally put out. But yeah, come along for the ride. Right now, I'm covering some NF. I'm covering some Ren. We're going to maybe get into some 21 Pilots, I think. I don't know what else we're going to do here in the near future, but this was really cool. I enjoyed this a lot as a Stranger Things fan and as now a fan of Joe Keery. I'm interested to see what else he's done in this DJO or DJO person. I got to get that straight first. That's my first task, is figuring out how to pronounce the name that he sings under. And then I'll learn all his songs. We'll take a deep dive. Maybe not here. I don't know. We'll see. I'll take a look at his discography. If there's other things that have really popped off, then maybe we'll touch on those and see if there is room for doing some other reactions here. But I mean, with this one, just absolutely blowing the top off and going so viral and then going to the top of Spotify's charts, I felt like I had to sit down and listen to it. And I wanted to record that and I wanted to put it on my channel. So here it is. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to end like I always do in all of my videos with a little bit of prayer. Lord, thank you for artists that talk about the things that they've gone through in their past, that reflect on where they've been, that have that maturity to understand that there's a place they've come from, there's a place they're going, and ideally how blessed they are to be going to those places. That even if I don't know where Joe is on his spiritual journey, I don't know if he has faith in you, but regardless, all of this comes from you as the original creator. Lord, we thank you for that and we praise you, and it's in your son's precious name I pray. Amen. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next time.